Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah. Talking wrestling, it's a wild ride. From suplexes to body slams, we got it all inside. Get ready for the excitement, the drama show. Talking wrestling is ready to throw down. Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. My name is Justin Davis, and as always, I'm joined by the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, Miss Amy Vaughn herself. Hello, Amy.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Hello, and of course, the man who this show is named after, Mr. Pondwater Dave. How's it going, Pondwater? Amy
Doing
gave us
great.
a Howard Stern reference there, and she didn't even know she did it. Maybe
I did not. Sorry.
Doing great. Excited to be here with y'all. Feeling better after the surgery last week. Almost feeling human again until one of the dogs jumps on the wounds. But really excited to have one of my friends with us tonight. He's comedian, he's podcaster, Howard Stern Show alumni. He's a genius, and you can hear him every day doing the Uncle Rico Show on the Shuli Network. Mr. Shuli Egar. Shuli, how are you?
I mean, Dave, genius is a ridiculous word to use for the stupid stuff that I'm a part of. But thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Man, you've moved up in the world. I mean, I remember you were running all your stuff yourself. Now you got your own theme song. You got Justin snapping to and introducing everybody. I mean, you are running a tight ship here, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good till about 10 seconds in, and then it starts heading south.
You know what's really bad, Shuli? We're gonna have to get a Shuli shirt because he wore Corey Ryan Forrester's shirt when you're on here with us.
Yeah. My thing is, I don't want Dave promoting me. You understand? Some people will get a shirt. Not everybody will get a shirt.
Gotcha.
Some promotion can hurt you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I got to be smart.
I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it today, if I'm being honest.
We expect that each and every.
I've had a hard week of sitting on the couch and doing absolutely nothing.
Wow. I'm glad you pulled yourself together to do this show.
I pulled myself away from streaming Reacher and the Adventures of Superman.
You want to watch something good? Check out the Netflix, the We Are the World documentary. It's really good. It's really cool to watch all those celebrities doing that song and just funny, weird shit happening. Like Waylon Jennings was there. Did you know that? He was
Not very long.
Waylon split.
Yeah, he said as soon as Michael Jackson said, "We need to put some Swahili lyrics," Waylon Jennings said, "Start the truck. I'm out of here." He heard Swahili. He was out the door. It was great.
Yeah, the greatest part about that documentary is how much nobody really wants to be there.
Well, I disagree. I think the greatest part of that documentary is watching Al Jarreau get shit-faced to the point where Stevie Wonder's like, "Can we do something about this fucking guy?"
One of my favorite parts of that video is when Cyndi Lauper jumps up and starts her yelling.
Yeah.
And the lady next to her, I think it might have been Dionne Warwick next to her. This is the look that she gets on her face like.
Yeah, there were some people in there. My wife was asking, she's like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Jeffrey Osborne." And she's like, "What does he sing?" I'm like, "Great question." Whatever it is, it's in a waiting room. That's where they're playing it right now. But it was cool to see all those old faces, you know.
I remember watching it because once upon a time MTV actually played music, and it was in heavy rotation. And
I don't know if you remember, but they show this in the documentary, and I forgot about it. The day it was released, it was played worldwide at the same time, everywhere around the world, which is in that day and age for the technology that we had to be able to pull that off. That's pretty wild, man.
And it genuinely had the legends of music in it.
Yeah.
People you would have never expected to see in the same room together.
Yeah, I liked Huey Lewis was like, "What the hell am I doing here?" He's like, "You guys, oh, I should
And they're
not."
trying, and they're asking Huey Lewis to hit these notes that, like, he is not even trying to hit. They
I've
can't even
got to
say
watch
it.
that documentary. That's good. That'll be on.
Definitely.
I'll do that tomorrow
But
for sure.
I think the most genius thing in that whole thing is Quincy Jones, who produced it all. His idea of having everybody in the same room with each other was genius because I think Lionel Richie says it. He goes, he was right. They're all going to try to one up each other because they're watching each other perform, and it's like, so now it's like a challenge. Like, oh, they're going to hit that note. Watch what I do with this shit. You have that much talent that's able and capable of doing so many incredible things, all trying to top each other. That's pretty genius move on his part.
You got to wonder who was there that was nervous about singing in front of somebody that was there.
Everybody was. They all, no matter how good they were, they had this guy who was the vocal arranger. Once they wrote the song, there was a guy who was in charge of picking who's singing what. Not everybody can have a lead. It's a 2.5 minute song. So you got 50 musicians and Dan Aykroyd. I don't know why the hell he was there, but whatever. And so each of them either are part of the chorus or they get a verse, right? And you're singing literally half a verse to get everybody else in. So this guy, it kind of reminded me of booking wrestling. Like, he's got all these names, he's got pictures, and he's trying to match up the voices that complement each other. Like, Dionne Warwick and Willie Nelson, like putting those two voices together. You don't think about it, right? Like Bruce Springsteen and Steve Perry, or Huey Lewis and Steve Perry. One's got a gravelly voice, the other one's got a clean voice that could hit. So it was like cool to see him like booking the song, like based on the people that were there. I dug that.
And then where the hell did you put Bob Dylan in that?
Oh,
my
didn't even
God.
know what to do, bro. He didn't even know how to like sing it.
It was so awkward, Dylan, in that because they're like, all right, we need you to sing and go. And the song's playing. And he just goes, he's like whispering, and like Stevie Wonder had to bring him over to the piano and start doing a Dylan impression to Dylan to get him to sing it.
He had to coach him up and like remind him who he is.
Yeah. So.
Well, I didn't know we were going to talk about that documentary.
I know. Sorry to sidetrack your show.
It's all fascinating to me, and I love music. You mentioned Dan Aykroyd in there, and when you said Dan Aykroyd, why? For some reason, Jimmy Fallon popped into my head, and I was wondering if that Jimmy Fallon is this generation's Dan Aykroyd for being an entertainer that would rather be a musician.
I would say no. I would say yes on the criteria of like music and entertaining. He can do both. But I think talent-wise, I think Dan Aykroyd, it's not even a question.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dan Aykroyd is just a brilliant comic on SNL, sketch comedy, actor, great in movies, really smart guy, speaks really well. Like, he's all around a guy that's interesting. Whereas Fallon is like, Fallon's like a machine that just, you push the button and it makes one noise over and over again. That's just what it is.
And Dan Aykroyd actually does have a genuine love for the blues and contributes to that scene. And
he's a nut with aliens too, man. He's a wild fucker with that shit. So I'm all for that. I like that. The weirder, the better. I'm in.
He hosts a show on A&E. Unbelievable, I believe it is. And like you said, there are some definite things on there. I feel like I read somewhere where he has Asperger's.
He might.
And, I think it was just like showing that it's not, I'm trying to think of what the article was about or whatever, but again, just showing that multitudes of people could be on the spectrum, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
But you look back at his sketches when he was doing the sales
Mhm.
salesman shit on SNL, the blender or whatever,
The
that
bag
he
of
would
glass.
yeah, bag of glass, right? But this delivery, he was just like boom, boom, boom. He nailed everything. It sounded legit, It was really
Mhm.
good.
Those were the years that took me away from being a wrestling fan. When I discovered Saturday Night Live, I quit watching Saturday Night Wrestling. And I mean, I heard him call Jane Curtin a slut before I knew what a slut was. So I'm calling my sister an ignorant slut, and my dad has to get on to me.
Oh Lord.
I love it.
But you could watch all that back then, and just you've watched on Saturday night and Saturday and Sunday you're at school repeating with everything. Just the cute jingles. The hop on into a rabbit hut will turn you into a rabbit nut. Dale Slater's 50 years later, I can recite the shit.
Yeah, I always liked my one. I mean, I liked SNL, but probably my favorite like sketch comedy show when I was a kid was SCTV.
Mm.
I would watch those, and I loved SCTV. I just thought it was so. And you look back on it now, and they were really ahead of their time. Like they were doing themed shows that it was just like this one theme going through the entire show, where SNL was just a series of sketches. I thought that was good, and then later on, probably my favorite sketch comedy show of all time, Mr. Show with Bob and David on HBO. That one I thought was next level.
I don't
And
think I've seen that one.
if you got HBO Max, they got all the seasons on there. I think it's like 3 seasons or 4 seasons. It's Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul,
Uh-huh.
and David Cross, of course, star of the Chipmunks, one of them. I don't remember which movie, but they both were really funny comics, and they had the voice of SpongeBob. Tom Kenny is on that show with them. I forget the guy's name, but he just got charged with being at the Capitol on January 6th. One of the guys on that show.
Woo.
Paul F. Tompkins. It's a pretty good cast, and their sketches
Cool.
were really, really good.
Awesome. We got a lot of TV to check out. The documentary on the We Are the World. Check out that. That's going to be good. Good weekend stuff.
I need something to keep me entertained.
Did you have your stitches out today? Did you go back to the doctor today?
No, I did not. Oh, you were talking to him?
Oh.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I went yesterday, and I think they're dissolved. I think they dissolved. They didn't take. I mean, they just showed me the pictures of. It's kind of like, this is everything that we did. They were real proud of it. This is what it's supposed to look. This is what a healthy one looks like. This is what yours look like.
Mm.
Don't you hate when they do that?
Do you have to do therapy?
I started in the morning.
Oh,
you should have started years ago, in my opinion. I've known you for a while, but
I mean, I'm
whatever.
not. Yeah, they're going to want to work out my knee, and I'm going to unload my problems. How much?
Captive audience, right? I mean, might as well.
We'll see.
Shuli,
I'm going to take it serious.
Shuli, did you hear what Pondwater did for his? What was it with you and Teppy? Was it your birthday or? Wait a minute. When you went to.
If you don't know, how will I know?
It's when you both went to the doctor to get the same thing.
Oh yeah,
done.
He's in the group chat. He knew about the couples colonoscopies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted your opinion on that. What do you think about doing that for? Is it a birthday gift? Was that what it was, or an anniversary?
Well, I just happened to be off that. I mean, I just scheduled it for that day.
Couples colonoscopy. That's wild shit. Am I right, everybody? Am I right? Yeah, no, that's horrific. I would probably my wife and I would probably split up after that. Some things you don't need his and hers, like shit tubes. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason to share that moment. Some things are okay.
Got a blue tube and she got a pink tube.
We both had to have one, and it just made sense that it
made
sense for us to go on the same day. So we didn't have to make 2 trips.
I said, my wife had to get a pap smear the other day. I didn't go with her to fucking get one. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on?
Who drove y'all home?
Her parents.
Oh my God. The whole family was there?
Yeah. Bring the
Holy
whole crew.
crap.
It's a fun thing to do.
Wow.
But Conrad said couples colonoscopies is the most Palm Water Dave thing he's ever heard of.
Did they have like cushions set up in the back seat of the car for you guys when you got in there?
Yeah. Well, they drive a Regal with a handicap sticker, so
Did they put you both out, or are you guys awake for this one? This is the colonoscopy, right? They put you out, yeah?
yeah, I was out.
Yeah. So you thought. No, they put, okay.
And they
What's
rush you
that?
out of there. They don't even let you wake up good before they got you out of there. So hers was like 30 minutes after mine, and they were having some difficulty with hers. So I'm out there in the parking lot, sitting in the back seat of my mother-in-law's car,
Just
trying to
farting
shake
up
off
a storm.
anesthesia.
And you're farting like crazy, I bet, right?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, they give you that medication that just flushes the tanks. And I remember when I was working for Stern, one of the writers, Sal, had a colonoscopy, and I was working for the news department at the time, and Sal said I can go with them. And they brought me into the recovery room. He was still asleep, and I felt creepy just standing there while he's snoring and he's making noise out of both ends, and I'm taping him. And then he woke up, and he fell in love. It was a whole thing. Like, he was out of it. But yeah, that's got to be a weird car ride home, huh? What's that conversation like in the family mobile after that?
Well, we were trying to figure out where we were going to go eat.
Oh my God, you guys
They
are
couldn't eat
unbelievable.
for like 24 hours before that, so they were probably hungry, right?
The doctor said, "Now go." They told us. They said, "Now y'all go straight home."
I did it.
And I'm like, "No, we're going straight to McAllister's. I'm a grown ass man, and I'm hungry because I had ate since before midnight last night."
I did a show in Elko, Nevada, years and years ago, and the only thing Elko, Nevada is known for is brothels. So on our off day, we did a show Friday night. Saturday during the day, one of the comics was like, "Hey, this brothel is giving free tours. Do you want to go down?" There's nothing else to do. So we're like, yeah, I hear the word free. I'm a Jew. I'm in, right? So I go, we all go, and a girl comes out and takes each of us to the back room to do the hard sell, right? Try and get us to it. That's what the tour is. And so I'm in this room with this woman, and she goes, "You interested in doing anything today?" And I go, "No." I go, "But can I ask you some questions?" I said, "I'm a comic, so I'm just curious." And she's like, "Yeah." And I go, "What's the weirdest thing a guy ever asked you to do?" And without missing a beat, she looks at me and she goes, "I had a guy ask me to shit on him once." And I go, "Did you do it?" And this is her reaction. She goes, like that, right? And I go, "Wow." I go, "Is there less conversation when you start or when it's over?" And she said, "It's less when you start and more when it's over." And I just pictured the guy getting dressed, buttoning up his shirt. "My youngest is graduating this week. It's amazing. It's amazing to see how quickly." I'm sorry. Do I still have shit on my side of my face? I'm sorry, but yeah, So,
and that guy, it's his private joke. Somebody asked him what he did in Vegas. He's like, "Oh, I got into all kinds of shit."
yeah, exactly,
It's his
exactly.
private joke.
Meanwhile,
He does it in front of his wife like he's getting away with it.
but then I got pissed because I left and I noticed not one picture of this woman as employee of the week, month, day. I'm like, what do you got to do around here to get some fucking recognition? Some appreciation. Sorry, by the way, to anybody who's in the chat that's ready to hear wrestling.
No, we're not talking wrestling.
Well, I do have one wrestling related question, because obviously we all know, as far as our people that listen to this show, Shuli, they all know of WCW Nitro legend Beetlejuice.
Sure. Man.
You worked very closely with, in my opinion, the greatest whack packer of all time, Beetlejuice. Have you heard how he's doing? Because we don't really hear from him much anymore on the show or anything like that.
Yeah, Beatles semi-retired. He's living with family in Atlanta, and he's I guess taking care of his health. May have some health issues here and there. His longtime manager Bobby,
yeah.
he goes out and visits him. I think a handful of times a year. They Beat actually FaceTime me not long ago with Bobby from the hotel, and I hadn't talked to him in a long time. And
Did he
so it
still
was,
call you the Julie?
yeah, he still calls me Jewel. It's crazy. Like I used to room with him on the road because nobody wanted to, right?
Right.
And I
I
was
don't
like,
know why.
listen, I get it, but at the same time, we can't just let this fucking guy on his own and
He
just
can't
hope.
stay by himself.
Yeah,
He'll
hope he's
burn
in
down
the
the hotel.
room.
He'll start smoking cigarettes in bed or something.
Well, that's the listen. At least he'd be in his room. I mean, when you got to get up the next morning and get a flight, and now you got to play Where's Beetle, like that's
Not a
so.
fun game to play.
I would just room with him just to kind of like, all right, somebody's got to be here, keeping an eye on this guy. And I remember there were times where I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I hate every second of this. This is, and then years later, here I am at home. I get FaceTime from Beetle, and I say hi, and we talk, and then we hang up, and and I'm instantly sad because I'm like, man, I'd love to room with that fucker again.
You got
It's-
emotional. You missed
that
it.
yeah, that's like I never thought I'd be in that place where
Right.
I'm like, I miss sharing a room with Beetle, but it's never going to be duplicated. I mean, you can watch Ali Frazier, no Ali, fucking Foreman. You can watch that 100 times. I have seen it a bunch of times. I've seen it once with Beetlejuice, and that makes no one will ever see it like I saw it with him, because he's sitting there telling me how he trained, Foreman for this fight. And then a few minutes later, he's telling me how he trained Ali. And I'm like, so you trained both? And he's like, oh, yeah, I trained both. And it's just, he's telling, we're watching movies. He's like, watch this. You going to hit her. You're going to take the car. And none of it happens. But it was phenomenal. I love it.
Well, Amy, I know you don't listen to the Howard Stern show. One of Shuli's jobs on the show was kind of the whack pack wrangler, so to speak, where he kind of was in charge of catching their emails and their incessant phone calls and wanting to be on the show all the time. And so Shuli got really up close and personal with a lot of the whack pack.
Yeah, the Whack Pack were, I mean, as a longtime fan and listener of the show, they were one of my favorite parts of the show.
Mhm.
And the back office stuff was my favorite part, one of my favorite parts of the show. So when I got there and I started working with this news team, I'm like, I'm not a real reporter. I don't know how to do this shit. I'm not going to sit here and like start working on stories. I'm going to talk to the Whack Pack, check in with them. I'm going to check in with the back office and go from there. And that was, and the whole time I'm doing that, I'm also learning from real reporters how to do this thing somewhat close to as good as they are. So yeah, I love the Whack Pack. There's nothing else like it. You can book the biggest name, celebrity, movie star, whatever. It's still not going to be a Beetlejuice or Eric the actor. Those guys are just one of a kind legends, never be duplicated.
I'm the same way. Like I would rather listen to Wendy, the slow adult, than having Tom Cruise on any day of the week. Like give me that all day, every day. What do you think?
Howard,
go ahead, Dave.
you mentioned Howard. Y'all went to Sirius and y'all started with the news department.
Yeah,
and I mean, Steve Langford seemed like he took it very, very serious.
yeah.
I mean, so the mission, it seemed like y'all's mission was to treat y'all's news department covering the world of Howard Stern, even the minutia. But
Yeah.
did y'all get, but did y'all ever get pushback from maybe Robin didn't want something,
Sure.
or Scott? I mean, what was the pushback on? Because y'all always seemed to have something going, and Langford seemed like he was. I mean, it was like he was going to Camp David.
Langford was no joke. Langford was real deal, ready to die for the story. And like here's a great Langford story. Artie Lang is playing Carnegie Hall, right? He's headlining Carnegie Hall for the first time in his career. It's a huge moment for him. We go there with him for sound check, right, to cover for the news. And we're on the stage at Carnegie Hall. It's massive. and Artie's standing there, and Steve's got his recorder out, and Artie's telling this amazing story about how he remembers buying a ticket to go see Richard Lewis and thinking, man, I hope maybe one day I can perform here. It was a great story. And all of a sudden, this woman just walks up to Artie and Steve and she goes, I'm going to need you to shut that recorder off. And so Steve kind of gives her this weird look. All of a sudden, it's, Putin trying to shut him down, right? Right. So she goes, can you come with me 1 second? And he's 100% serious. He goes, where are you taking me? Abu Ghraib, right? The fucking prison over there in Iraq. And then he leaves for like 10 minutes or whatever. And he comes back and I see him and I go, what was that about? And he goes, she said, I'm not allowed to record on stage and to delete my audio. And I go, did you do it? And he looks at me and he goes, you could put a fucking gun to my head. I'm not deleting. And it's a story about Richard Lewis. Who gives a shit? But that was Steve. He was as hardcore. And he was the perfect voice for that news department because the stories were always going to be stupid. Every now and then there'd be like amazing shit Steve uncovered and worked on. But for the most part, it was all idiotic shit. Yeah. And here you have a guy that's delivering it in the most serious. Like that was what Howard.
That was the joke. Yeah.
That was Howard wanted a 1010, an AM news station covering the world, not just Howard and the staff, the guests, the Whack Pack, the sponsors, you name it. Every piece of that animal was going to get used. And it was brilliant. And the characters they had working that news team, Lisa G, Penny Crone, John Lieberman, Ralph Howard, all these guys were amazing, and they were the real deal. Like they Emmy nominated.
They all had news jobs before they did that job.
Yeah, it was wild.
I mean, what I loved, with Steve Langford is just how serious and like newsman his voice was, and he'd break in like breaking news. Lisa G has shit at work. Like that's the type of stuff that he's covering, and it just that's what makes it funny. Like,
he'd sit there, his hand on his ear, go, Eric the Midget selling 0.0 tickets to his appearance.
Incredible stuff. But then your Howard years wind down during COVID, and you moved to the South and you moved to Alabama.
Yeah, where all Jews go, right? Let's do it.
So you go from Las Vegas to New York.
Yeah.
That had to be somewhat of a culture shock.
Yeah, but I was ready. Like I wasn't going back to Vegas. Once I got over the fear of like, how am I going to find my way around this place, and like, how am I going to do any of this? Once I got there, I was like, listen, it didn't end well for me in New York as far as like just the area around us and just the shift in during COVID. That whole part sucked ass, but the energy, like I've never been to a place that's alive, like a place that's got its own energy, and New York has that. And it's like I've told people, it's like the fastest lazy river. Once you get in it, you're gone. you fucking have to go. And so I loved it at the start, and then towards the end, work changed a little bit. New management came in. Then we had the pandemic, and once we all got sent home, I knew he's never going to be back in there. So why the fuck am I going back in there? And then it was about, okay, you're stuck in this apartment in New York. Now I'm not out every day working or weekends doing gigs. I'm home. I get to see what we're paying for and what we have for what we're paying for. And, and shit in the area just got worse and worse. And I got 2 little kids, and I'm like, we're not doing this. Yeah. We're out of here.
You told me one time that, just right outside your door, somebody took a shit in front of a car.
It was our car. It was behind our car. I walked out with my daughters, and there was a guy taking a shit behind our car. Look at, he just waved, and
Oh,
I do a joke on stage about it. I go, and the worst part was he wasn't wearing a mask, which he wasn't. And I think if I would have called the cops, they would have fucking the SWAT team would have showed up.
But then you go to Alabama, and that's the land of, hey y'all, how you doing? And people are friendly, and things are wide open. And we mentioned that you have a large dog with room for him to run.
Yeah. Well, a large dog was part of the deal when we got the large house. I told my wife, because she always had the small dogs. I said, when we get a big house, I'm getting a big dog.
how did you end up in Alabama? Like, did you know someone, or you just threw a dart, or what?
No. I said I reached out to Connie, as we all know, Mr. Thompson. We had been friends for a while. He was a big Stern fan. I was a big wrestling podcast fan. So we had communicated, for long before the pandemic. And what's funny is he told me a couple times, he's like, you should just get some land out here. Huntsville's booming. It's going to be big one day. And I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do in the South? Like, what do I know about Huntsville? What am I, an asshole? I'm not buying any. And meanwhile, we snuck out like gypsies during the pandemic. We drove 14 hours to Huntsville because we started seeing online what we could get for the same money we're blowing in New York.
Yeah.
And so we're like, this place doesn't even exist. Let me get out there. And we came out and we went and looked at, I don't know, like 20, 25 houses. By the time we got back home, every single one of them had been sold. And, 80% of them were done via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever. People weren't even physically there. People were just dying to get out of places. And so when we found the place, I said, listen, I'm going to go down there, because we were debating which one of us goes down there to close the deal. And I said to my wife, look, if I get COVID and die, the kids still have a chance. If you get COVID and die, they're going to look like assholes every day. I'm not going to be able to dress them, do their hair. It's going to be a mess. So I came out here, closed the deal, grabbed the family, the dogs, the cats, the kids, and came out here, and then got the big dog when I got here. So it's been great. I love it, man. Peace of mind. There's no price tag you can put on that. No. And I was still working for the show when I first got out here for a few more months. And I was loving where we were living. I was loving where we were at in life, the quiet, the peace, the just having our own thing, our own thing now, and so the only thing that was making me not enjoy everything was work. And so I made the decision to leave.
And since you moved to Alabama, no one has shit behind your car.
No, not one.
And he's friends with Casio.
Yeah, I know. Well, you never know with Casio.
If anybody's going to do it, it's him or Silva. I'll tell you that.
You said that you were still working for the show when you moved. Did they make you the butt of the jokes being in Alabama?
Yeah, that was something that really pissed me off, because, and looking back on it now, it's radio, so he's doing a show. I get it. But at the time, I was probably a little sensitive about shit. But, everything had to be okayed and checked with work before I made this move. Like I made sure that, we were going to be working from home for a while. And I was told by my supervisors that was the case. And I asked them, does it matter where home is? And they said, for right now, no, it doesn't. So I said, okay, I'm going to do what's best for my family, and when I got out there, like, I came out here earlier before my family just to make sure everything was hooked up, ready for work. Like, and then I remember that first morning being on the air, and literally the first thing Howard was like, you're not going to believe this, Robin. And I'm like, here we go. And he paints this picture of, like, in the middle of the night, Shuli and his family run. And I'm like, that's not the. I go, you know, I was doing this. You all knew I was doing this, and then, and so I'm arguing with him and Robin, and then I think it was like a week, that same week, or maybe 2 weeks later, Kimmel was on, and here I am fighting with Kimmel, Howard, and Robin about why I moved. Meanwhile, Kimmel rented an RV for 3 months and just drove around with his family. Howard's got a panic mansion. I'm like, I had a 2-bedroom apartment. Like, I don't know what you want me to fucking do. But like, if I had your options, yeah, I'd be in RV land with Jimmy Kimmel, but I'm not. I can't. So yeah, I was just fighting, man. And I was kind of pissed because I had met people out here now that I was living here, and people could not be friendlier. They were so sometimes too nice. Southerners love to open up a little too much too soon. So, but that being said, when they met me or my family and they knew we were from New York, not one of them said, fucking New York, or why are you here? We don't want you. Nobody, what's your politics? Nobody gave a shit about anything. And here I am saying, no, man, this place is great. They don't know anything about Huntsville. They've never fucking been here. But much like the rest of us who've never been, they just assumed, everybody's toothless and fucking their sister out here, which in some areas they are, but not in the ones we moved to. So yeah, I don't know. It was just like, for me, it was like, I didn't give a shit at that point. I was going to do what's best for my family. We had 2 different or 3 different attempted break-ins to our apartment building in New York. And, I'm just like, how are you going to get a gun out there? You're not. You got to buy one off the street before you get one legally. So there's no way, there's no way I was going to stay there with the situation where it was at.
Well, it seems to have worked out well for you. I mean, I remember you started the Shuli show, and at first you knew that leaving the Stern show was going to be that the curiosity, and you were very interactive with your fan base. You knew that that was going to be the kicking off. But
yeah, I was hoping. I knew Howard wasn't going to talk about the exit and the details, and I did not have NDA signed when I left, so I was free and clear to talk about anything and everything. But I also wasn't looking to trash the guy either. He gave me an opportunity that nobody gave me or would give me with the amount of experience I had in radio. So it was a gift, and I'll always be grateful for that. But at the same time, he wasn't the guy I was dealing with on a daily basis. There was new management in place. Everything had changed with the pandemic. The show got very different. I felt it was more of like, it just wasn't fun for me anymore. And it was starting to bleed into the home life, and that's when I was like, yeah.
I think everybody's under the impression that when you're on the Howard Stern show, that it's Howard and Robin and Fred, and y'all are all in the same room together, and Howard's the quarterback, and this is what we're doing. And I don't think everybody realizes that Howard isolates himself, and there's layers to get to him.
Yeah. There's buffer zones, right? Like,
I think everybody just in their mind, what they see on camera, they think that's how it is, and they don't realize the frustrations that could come working on a show of that caliber.
Yeah, it's also, when things started changing and more people started coming in, it got more competitive, more like a SNL writer's room than everybody kind of working together. Everybody wants airtime. Everybody wants to get in front of Howard. Like, I don't fault anybody. I was the same way, So yeah, it changed a lot. The structure, for me, the biggest change was just the organic, spontaneity of the show, like something happening, and then he starts riffing on it, and we're writing, and people are calling in his characters, and all of a sudden it's a 40-minute bit that just happened from a 1-minute call or something, like that's the stuff that really changed and really I felt sad about, because that was the coolest thing about that show, is just all of a sudden Jackie says something during the news and they spend 45 minutes busting his balls, or something comes up about Gary, and that's the stuff that I love.
We've had some questions in our chat over here, Shuli, and we're kind of touching on this one, so I wanted to ask this for Andy Bulger. Hi, Shuli, longtime Stern fan. Don't listen much anymore. What are your thoughts on the change in Howard? It seems that he has become the guy that he used to go after. Miss the old Howard so much. Why do you think they've kind of went away from like focus on the whack pack and stuff like that into more of an interview type almost show.
I mean, I think I think all of us outgrow shit after a while, number one. But I also think that when he got a taste of like mainstream celebrity was when he became a judge on America's Got Talent. And that was a big shift because now you got, soccer moms who are fans of Howard who would never be fans of his, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, so I think the taste of that, I think I know that, big guests not coming on his show is something that he wanted to change. I think a lot of that was like from seeing Kimmel have on Tom Cruise and Matt Damon and all these guys. And he was like, shit, they should be coming on here. I think it was a combination of those things, just getting older. Not, it was fun when we started to put chicks on the Sibian, now maybe not so much.
I mean,
I get that. Like, I don't ever fault him for, evolving, right? But like,
Lord of the anal ring toss probably ain't got to play real well today.
I get it. It's like I worked with David Tell once. He gave me a shirt, one of his shirts that he was selling. Dave's old porn stash. I don't wear that out of the house a lot,
Yeah.
I love the guy. I think he's one of the greatest comedians of all time, but it's a tough sell. So when you have a family, right? So I think that had a lot to do with it. And I just think that, it's the show is geared now towards clicks, eyes, and not necessarily the show that it was. It's not, it's not ever going to be that, but it was that, and that's cool. That's all right.
And even if you look at the show from the existence till now, it changed from the beginning to the middle. I mean, It always changes. I mean, that's just part of it.
Look at Pondwater Dave's show. I mean,
That's
when
right.
I was on this thing last time, it was a hunk of shit, and I said I'm never doing it again. And now we got a high class operation here.
We got graphics and everything, Shuli.
Everything, background, whatever you need.
All right, we're trying.
No, they're trying. You're sitting on the couch doing nothing. All right.
Let's talk about where your show has gone, though, because
there's the legendary.
There's Eric.
there's
The
your,
midget.
Eric the midget.
Eric the actor. Yes.
Hold on,
the
headphones.
I want to ask you because
Yeah.
your show was the Shuli show, but now you're doing Uncle Rico.
Yeah, so I did the solo podcast for a while, and the whole time I was working at Stern, and after this guy Stuttering John Melendez, who used to work on Howard back when I was calling in, he was talking shit about everybody that worked there now, myself included. Never did anything to him or any of that. Never fought back because I was there. He was trying to sue Sirius, so it's not like interaction with John would have been a smart move for me as an employee there, right? He's trying to sue my boss. So when I left Howard, I went and did some of my friends' podcasts to promote my own podcast. And one of my buddies, Carl, from Who Are These Podcasts, he had a segment that he would do, like a 15 to 20-minute segment every episode about John. And he would just play clips from John's podcast and goof on him. And he asked me a few times to like rip on John. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to take the high. I mean, this guy tried to get me fired. This guy, just a real piece of shit, right?
Well,
And
was your first?
yeah.
Now, when you and John first went cross, was that because of the time that he tried to ambush you in that lobby?
No, so he was talking all kinds of shit on Twitter and social media and his podcast. And then Sirius had opened up a studio in LA, and we were flying out there to christen this new studio by doing Howard Stern shows all week. And he found out what hotel we were staying at. And I'm sitting there waiting to go out. I don't know if we had work that night or just a dinner, but I'm waiting in the lobby. And all of a sudden, in cargo shorts and sandals, reeking of alcohol, this fucking golem just puts his sweaty, weird hand around me, and he's like, "Hey, pal," and I just get up and I just take his hand off me, and I just slowly start walking away because I'm like, what I want to say, I'll end up starting a fight in this lobby, and I'm on the clock. I'm here working. I'm representing my boss. Serious. I can't get involved with this shit. So that was years before I ever said anything about him. I let it all slide. Let it all slide. And then finally I was just like, fuck, man. You know, Carl ripping on him was so fun, and I loved listening to it. And I just was like, well, why the fuck am I not fighting back against this fucker? Like, fuck him. What am I being signed for? I got nothing to lose. I don't work there anymore. Like, let's go. And I did the first episode with my buddy Iso. And then by the second episode, I'm like, I want to get some of my comedy friends. And we had myself, the Reverend Bob Levy, and Mike Morse. All three of us have stories and you know, time spent with John. And we started doing the Uncle Rico show, and we picked up a couple more producers, and we have a team now where they take his show from the day before, they cut it up into a like 30 to 50 minute package for us, and we have yet to see it, and we go on and we watch it in real time. The three, well, now Anthony Zenhauser, a great comedian, has joined our team, so there's four of us now that watch John, and it's a live brand new roast every episode of the same fucking guy. I know it sounds impossible.
That's why I called you a genius.
Yeah, I know you're thinking, how can you roast the same guy every? Watch it. Watch and tell me it's not possible, because it is. It turned our whole, you know, world upside down. Everything, you know, I was working with my friends. That was my big thing that I wanted to do after I left the show, is the guys I couldn't work with or whatever. Like, I want to enjoy doing this again. And so when I brought those guys in, it was fun. We weren't making any money though. But then John helped us out the most. He struck our YouTube channel, and we had 2 strikes. We were 1 strike away from getting completely gonzoed off of YouTube, and we moved to Patreon. And all of a sudden, everybody started coming to Patreon and supporting us because they knew we were losing money on YouTube because of him. So he literally kicked off the Uncle Rico show, and we call it the Uncle Rico show because he lives in the past, much like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. So, and it was born 3 years later. YouTube channel has, I think, we're closing in on 12 million views in 3 years. We have coming up on 19,000 subscribers. We have thousands of members. We're able to fucking pay people. Like, we got a team. Everybody's making money off of John, but John, it's phenomenal.
Does he fight back?
Oh yeah, he's dirty too, man. He'll put up pictures of people's wives, kids, moms, like because he can't combat in a battle of wits, right? He can't be funny. And he's angry. He's angry. He's bitter. He had a great run. He's like the Forrest Gump of entertainment. You know, he landed on Howard and then, you know, ran till his braces popped off and ended up on Jay Leno. It was amazing. He shouldn't have been in either, but he was. And
I gotta say, when he was the announcer for the Tonight Show, I was scratching my head on that. Like, how did this
Everybody was.
I don't get the joke.
You know, he got hired as the announcer, right? And the announcer, you would think, is, you know, sitting on the couch, Ed McMahon style, right? Part of the show. They put John in the 4th row of the audience. That was his seat during the show. Like,
I mean, and I don't even know, it was the joke like Jay thought, like, it'd be funny if he stutters in the announcing.
No, it was Jay and Howard had a nasty rivalry. They were friends. Ooh. Jay used to call into the birthday shows every year, and they were friends. And then Bits started popping up on Jay Leno's show that were on Howard's show. And
yeah.
and Howard started calling him out for that. So the story goes that Jay offered him, because Jay was under the impression that John wrote the questions that he went out and asked celebrities, which he didn't. They were written by Jackie and Fred and Howard and everybody but John. And he thought, okay, I'll take this guy who's really funny, comes up with great questions, stutters, and he's Howard's guy. I'll take Howard's listeners as well. And then he drove John off the lot, realized he bought a fucking lemon and stuck him in the fourth row. And that was the end of that.
I mean, John, he definitely has to realize that this feud with you and all y'all keeps him relevant.
He doesn't. A lot of people tell him that. And just so you guys know, you are now involved in the Dabbleverse. By talking about John, you will now be involved in he will be playing this. And he'll go, who the fuck is this Pond Water Dave? Just wait.
I'm going to tell my mom pictures of her going up on the internet.
Does that mean next week after our guest, I'll be able to retaliate and talk bad about him next week?
Yes, lock down your Facebooks, people. Lock them down.
All right.
But yeah, so that's what we do now. We do Uncle Rico 3 to 4 nights a week, depending on what's going on. We're not against doing an emergency show every now and then when he gives us gold. And we're we have such a supportive group of fans and viewers and contributors. There's so many talented people in this Dabbleverse that create amazing shit to bust John's balls with. We try to keep it fun. He likes to play in the dirt and the mud. Every now and then you go down to his level, which we've all been guilty of. But at this point, we're not doing any of that shit anymore. We are just looking to bust his balls every day. And you would think a guy who, was part of the Howard Stern show in the most ball busting era of the show would have a little bit more thick skin, but it's not the case. So we're just going to keep doing it. We got a big show we're doing in Rochester called DabbleCon 2. This is our second one. This is a weekend event. We're going to be doing the roast of the Dabbleverse Friday night. We'll be having karaoke after that. Saturday night, we will be Saturday during the day will be live podcasts all day long. Ourselves, Uncle Rico, WATP, who are these podcasts, a puppet, a potato, and an orange by the name of Tukey, Cardiff, and OJ will be doing a show as well.
Wait a minute. The potato's got to be there, Tukey?
Potato's going to be there, and Tukey, yes.
Then.
Yes. And then Saturday night, we have what some have called the Oscars of the John Melendez saga, which is the Dabbies. This is an award show where we put together categories and nominate clips, and we pick the best clip in said categories, creepiest interview with a woman, all these different categories, grossest moment. That's the best picture category. It's usually spit or snot on his face, and the whole audience goes nuts. Yeah, and it's not on purpose.
He's disgusting.
He is. He's a big dumb animal, isn't he, folks? He is.
I love the drop that you played.
I
don't change the litter box till I smell it.
I don't change the litter box till I smell it. There's let's see here. I have a soundboard. This is him yelling at a guy in a wheelchair.
Enjoy life in your fucking wheelchair prison.
Okay, so this is the guy that believe it or not, there's like 3 or 4 people that are like, maybe take it easy on him, and the rest of the people are like, hammer that asshole.
Well, tell everybody where I can watch you hammering this asshole.
You can watch us on YouTube, the Shuli Network, or you can sign up. You can sign up on Patreon. You can sign up to the membership on YouTube as well. We do Ricos during the week for free on YouTube. We do behind the wall packages during the week. We do 2 bonus shows for tier 1 bonus show every week. So we're cranking shit out. And and the audience is supporting us. So it's amazing. Go check it out. The Shuli Network. Try it. If you like it, join us. If not, it's Pondwater's fault. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, I think Stuttering John found us.
Oh, Ditka! Shuli would have starved long ago without Stuttering John. Guys, just a heads up. This is not the real Coach Ditka. I just want you guys to know that.
Damn.
Okay.
But he is one of the few supporters of John. So good to see you, Ditka.
Eat a Ditka.
At the end of the day,
We're glad Ditka found us.
Yeah,
We'll
subscribe,
take
Ditka. But also
Hey.
eat a dick.
at the end of the day, even his most loyal fans end up turning on him. So it's a beautiful thing.
I went back and listened to some of your most famous Howard Stern show fights today. And I got a question. Has anyone ever given you baby clothes and then asked for them back?
Just one guy. Doug Goodstein. He was the only guy. Guy at work offered me we were having our first kid, and he offered me baby clothes. My wife's like, don't do it. And I'm like, nah, it's fine. I go, it's a guy I work with. What's the worst that can happen? And then we take the clothes, and then I don't know, it's like 4 months after the kid was born, not even, it had to be like 2 months.
Yeah.
And and Doug says to me, he goes, yeah, not seeing a lot of pictures of the kids in the clothes we gave you. And it's like,
Oh.
and I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, well, I'll talk to my wife about, because I'm a guy. I don't fucking know about what my kids are wearing. You understand? And then at one point he comes to me, he's like, yeah, we have a friend that's being induced next week. We're going to need the clothes you're not using back.
The car
And I was
seat.
like,
They wanted the car seat.
he didn't even get to the car seat yet, right? And so this is my first kid, right? I don't know etiquette, right? So I go over to Gary, my boss, and I'm like, I go, hey, is this weird or not? Is this me? I go, Doug offered these clothes. I went and picked them up, and now he's asking for stuff. And I see Gary take out his little Post-it note and start writing. And I go, oh, he's bringing this right into Howard. And sure enough,
This is when Howard was really good. This is the type of stuff that we like with shit like, and Howard got 50 minutes out of it. I listened to it today. He went 50 minutes on it.
oh, that 50 minutes just that day. The next day, I wheeled everything back in on a dolly and threw it on the floor. It's going to go fuck himself. But yeah, I just remember thinking, what the, I've never heard. And then the greatest part was Howard brought Doug and I in, and then he lit Doug up. He was like, what? He goes, kids throw up in those clothes. What do you want them back for? He's like, what do you, they shit and piss in it. He's like, what are you doing?
He's like, he did you a favor. He took your junk for you.
He's like, your wife should have come with you and really pick. I guess she was 9 months pregnant, dude. She was ready to pop any fucking day. You want me to schlep her out there to pick out? They were all in garbage bags. I'm like, yeah, like I took the Mona Lisa from his fucking garage. But it ended up being amazing content for the show, and that's what we were all there for.
Did you and Doug have real heat after that, or were you okay?
A little bit, but we squashed it afterwards because he was like, he was saying fans were mailing baby clothes to him, and he's like telling me to stop. I'm like, I'm not telling people to mail you shit. I'm like, clearly you've struck a nerve with these people. So
I just feel like he was doing what his wife told him to do, is what it felt like the whole time.
That's what my whole point was. I go, Doug, just come to me like a guy and go, my fucking wife won't shut up about it. Can you throw a fucking outfit on this kid and post it on? I would have helped you out. I said, but it's more insulting that you come in here as a man and go, I don't see the outfits on your kid. No man fucking says, get out of here. Get out of here. So
incredible.
Yeah. There's some good stuff, man. I miss you being on.
Good to see you, pal. Thank you, buddy.
Oh. Well, we've said it all. We've said too much, Dave.
Well, we'll do this again sometime.
I would love for you to, Shuli. I appreciate your time.
Oh, man.
It's always good to see you.
You know I love you, and we go way back. And I'm a pond water mark for sure, and always will be. And that's that.
Oh,
that's that.
Shuli, I didn't get to tell you. I forgot to tell you this. I thought your spot at the Ric Flair roast was fantastic. I thought it was really, really, really good. I was there watching it live, and I thought it was fantastic.
I've only done 2 wrestling roasts, and both of them I was waiting to get punched from behind during my set. But that roast, Flair roast, that whole weekend was, maybe the best weekend wrestling wise I've ever had in my life. It was just such a blast, so much fun.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah. You had a moment, huh, fucker?
Yeah.
I mean, wow, that was crazy. But just being able to hang with all, wrestling, it makes you a kid again. It's fucking, it's a blast, man. I dug it, and being around all those legends and getting to smoke a joint with this one and that, like it was I loved it. Loved it.
I know. I never thought one time, Dave, I don't know if you were there, Dave, when we had the live show in St. Louis with Conrad and Tony. And I never thought I was going to be the bag handler for the NWA champion, Tommy Rich. But every about 15 minutes, it's like, hey, JD, you got that flower?
Oh, wait.
Yeah, hold on, Tommy. I got you. Hold on.
How about where me and Earl Skakel are walking around the convention, center where everybody's at their booths and stuff, and all of a sudden, who was it? Sags, right? Sags was there, and he's like, he goes, hey, and we just turn around, and he goes to Earl, he goes, come here, and Earl walks over and he goes, listen, man, I need somebody to give me a goddamn ride to my hotel room. I'm done with this shit. I'm out of here. And Earl looks at me, and I look at Earl. We don't have cars. We can't give this fucking guy a ride. So Earl goes, you know what? Let me get to the head of transportation and send him over to you. And the way he said it, I was like, wow, look at fucking Earl stepping up, helping this guy. And we start walking off, and Earl just looks at me and goes, what does he think I am, his fucking slave? I'm going to help him. He fucking Earl made me laugh all weekend long. He's one of the funniest human beings alive. Shuli's phenomenal stand-up. Not sure if he is touring, but he's really high on my list. And I've seen Carlin live. Darren, you need to calm down. You need to calm the fuck down comparing me to Carl. Have you heard the stupid shit I talk about? Do I even have?
You gonna be out on the road in this summer?
Hold on, let me look at the last joke I wrote. Coleman, Alabama is a what do they call it? Sunset town or something? Sundown. This is black people are not allowed to live there. Real estate through the roof. That's the last joke I wrote. And yeah, well, I don't think I'll be touring anytime soon based on that.
I don't know. It killed here. It killed in this room.
Hey, I once this is what I tried the other day. I go, are you guys into like wild stuff sexually? And the one was like, yeah. And I go, you ever spit on him? And she's like, no. And I go, I got spit on once. She's like, was it hot? I go, no, it's because I was a Jew. And they liked it. They thought it was good.
Shuli came to Mississippi once, and I actually Googled the town. I was going to try to make it.
What was the name of the town? Should be a documentary.
It was one of the worst gigs ever. I've said this. I've told this story. I got to where I had to turn left off the fucking highway to hell to this bar gig. The guy's very nice. He was a Stern fan. He knew I moved out there. He offered me a gig when you really couldn't do stand up like we used to. So I said, yeah, I don't want to get rusty. I drive to. And I'm looking to turn left, and I'm waiting and I'm looking at the bar, and everything in my body's like, just hold the wheel, go right back, just U-turn this, do not make a left. And then I was like, yeah, no, the guy booked me, I gotta show up and do my time, Yeah. And I've never been to a gig where the guy who booked me tried to talk me out of doing it. For the second I got there, he goes, listen, it's not a great turnout. He goes, I apologize for that. He goes, look, if you just want to do 10 minutes, that's fine. I'll still pay you what I promise. And I'm like, no, I go, you. Meanwhile, I should have said, you got it, But I'm trying to be a fucking hero. I go up there and I proceed to eat a shit sandwich for the next 35 to 40 minutes. I can't tell you how many times in my set I just gone, how's the pool game going on back there, guys? Nobody gave a shit. Nobody was listening. At one point, I got like the biggest laughs. Like 6 people laughed at the same time. And this woman, been there the whole time. She goes, can you repeat that? And I go, what? She goes, can you repeat the ending of that? I go, oh, just the punchline? You don't even need to shut up. She goes, my friend just came out of the bathroom. She didn't hear. I go, well, next time let me know. I'll go take a shit next to her and tell her the fucking joke.
Oh, Shuli, thank you so much.
My pleasure. I'm sorry for babbling like an asshole.
No.
I love you guys. Thank you for having me. Anytime, whatever you need, let me know. Yeah, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
True
thank
honors,
you very
Zoe,
much.
thank you.
Darren, love you. Ditka, go fuck yourself. I'm out.
How fun was that, y'all?
That was fun. Oh,
Man, I've
Lordy.
needed to laugh. I've been needing to laugh all week. This is great.
Oh,
Wow. Well, there you have it. The great Shuli Egar.
I'll apologize to the chat if I didn't unable to get to which y'all were asking. We only had him for a short amount of time, and I I mean, we could have that guy on for 5 hours and not get his entire story. He is so funny.
Listen, I don't want to hear anyone in the
definitely.
chat complaining because I had a bunch of stuff wrote down right here. And I only got to ask like 2 of them. So listen, that's just the way it
I was
goes.
letting you drive.
Uh,
I was letting you drive.
the
Yeah,
good thing
when he had
is,
that Mississippi stop, I Googled it and I was like,
oh my Lord.
and if you Google someplace and you don't get a lot of hits,
Yeah.
you can drive out into Dirtwater, Mississippi and be out in the woods somewhere. And,
Oh my God.
I didn't know, but
Bless his heart. That just seems, that seems like a movie thing. Like, like something you would see in a movie. Like, the city slicker comes down and he goes.
oh,
but
yeah.
he's such a good
Oh,
guy. He's so
Lord.
funny.
Oh,
He's so funny.
definitely.
When we hang out socially, I mean, you just laugh till your gut hurts. And I think the day I met him, I think that's where the tuna can story blew up at first, just because he was out on the back porch at Conrad's house by the swimming pool, and somehow or another I got to tell him the tuna fish story. I mean, I don't know if y'all believe this or not, but I was probably drunk.
Possibly.
No.
But I told the tuna story, but I think I
Light a
tell the
candle.
story. I tell the story so matter of factly
Mm-hmm.
that when you first hear about beating that I beat a woman in the head with a tuna fish can because she's a crackhead, she bit me.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not just the story itself, which is insane. It's the way he says it so dryly, like he says everything. And
but it's just
cracks
matter
me
of factly. So then I got her with the headlock and I got the tuna can. And I mean, and he's like, so as soon as I've been on his podcast before, and the tuna can story had to be told.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely. Well, and you have so many more stories like that. We're all just like, what?
I
Like,
know.
you're just like, you cut your thumb off? Like, what? You never even said anything. So you tend to tell stories like that. So Matt, I think it's because you were shot in the head. Like, you're just like, after that, like,
I
what else
wanted to
is
commit.
Yeah,
I wanted to commit a whole segment each week just to grocery store stories.
very true. Like, it's just all very matter of fact. Like, this is just a Friday night. I don't know what you want me to say.
One night we're all having a beer. I'll show y'all all the stitches, and man, there's plenty. I've had a storied life when it came to having repairs made.
I tell you what, speaking of storied life, every time I watch our intro and I see you go over that top rope, just
I'm telling you, doesn't it look like he let go too quick?
I
Because I
just
felt
can't
it's like
not
he didn't
laugh.
bring himself over.
I don't know what he was doing.
My foot hurt. My
He thought he
foot.
could fly. He thought he could fly. I don't
Well,
know.
he did fly right back
I
down
went-
to the ground.
Oh, that's just such a
The
great.
feet should have.
Oh
The
my
feet should have
God.
gone away from the turnbuckle, not towards the turnbuckle.
I just laugh every time. That's so great.
Well, another thing I've got to do this week being at home, I've been on top of breaking Dallas Stars news.
Uh-oh. We got
We're
some.
in the off season. Free agency started,
Oh, okay.
and we got a predicament tonight, y'all.
Why?
And I want to preface this. I'm going to share. We talked about this fella before. I'm going to share this video with you, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Wild, who are an incredibly dirty team.
Oh, okay.
We have one guy named Dumba, who now
Dumbo.
we affectionately refer to as dumbass.
Okay.
Can't spell dumbass without Dumba. He
I think I saw you post something on Facebook or Twitter about that, and I didn't know who that person was.
Well,
Okay.
he took out Pavelski in the first game of the series, gave him a concussion. I mean, he skated yesterday, so maybe he'll be back. And then so now that I've refreshed your memory,
Yes.
Pavelski is retired now. His last season, he's retired.
Oh.
And
Okay.
Free agent signing.
Oh no.
Yeah, oh no.
Oh
I never
really?
thought that I would hate a member of my team.
Dumas is coming in.
Dumbass is coming to Dallas.
Dumbass plays for the Stars now.
Wow.
Interesting.
No, it ain't interesting.
Yes, it is. That's
No.
interesting. I can't wait to see how this is going to go.
Well, I guarantee you'll never see me wear his jersey unless
Because-
I get his
but
jersey
hold on
and
now.
actually spell dumbass out on the back of it.
Doesn't this mean though that now you guys have someone that can hurt the other team instead of him hurting you?
Well, if he'll do that to Chuck, if he'll do that to Chuck, that would be on the road to rebuilding his image with me.
Okay.
Now, back in the day, I'm not going to say it's impossible because back in the day, Terrell Owens played for the 49ers. He got a touchdown, ran to the Star at the middle of the field against the Cowboys, and spiked the ball on the Star.
Legend.
And then he tried to do it a second time, and they got him.
Someone speared him off of it.
So, I mean, when I tell you that I'd go to New Orleans and say, "Hey, does anybody got Terrell Owens voodoo doll so I can stab that son of a bitch 87 times in the eye?"
Oh gosh.
I mean, so I felt that kind of passion about players that play for other teams.
Right.
But when Terrell Owens became a Cowboy, I was faced with this same dilemma.
Yes.
And I did come around on TO. So I'm not saying it's impossible with dumbass, but it's probably unlikely. I mean, he better be bodying MFers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chuck would be a good start. So
Where's this dumbass from? Is he from Canada? Because it could be, if he's French Canadian, it could be Dumas.
I don't
It could
know.
be Dumas.
I don't know. He played for Minnesota, and they think the Minnesota Wild fans think they invented hockey. So I don't know if it's going to be a good move. I'm in my feelings. We got rid of our backup goalie, Scott Wedgwood. We didn't re-sign him. We traded away Fosca. That kind of hurt. Just there's players that I didn't want to see go that are going. We got players that are coming in. We're rebuilding a little bit. I mean, our GM, Jim Nell, has been the NHL GM of the year 2 years in a row. He's not off to a good start for year 3. But that's Palm Water's predicament, is that I make it a habit not to hate players that play on my team, but but here we are. And it's funny because our
seems-
friend Brandon, that's normally in the chat. Brandon's normally here watching. He'll be in the chat, and but he even commented when the Stars on the Dallas Stars page when they announced it. He said, "Y'all know y'all fucked up, right?" And I commented. I said, "Well, I never thought I could hate one of our players, but here we are."
I think the Stars are becoming quite a regular guest on Pond Water's predicament.
No kidding.
They're getting you frustrated over there.
Yeah. So it's been a tough week. It's gonna be a long off season. We'll see how it turns out, but that's oh, and I got these wiener dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I got these wiener dogs. My wife just reminded me, and they get up. We have one of those sectional couches that on one end it's a recliner, and then it comes around and winds around, and then my wife's recliner, and then there's a console and my recliner, and the controls to the recliners are in the middle there on a little keypad.
Yes.
So when the dogs come running around to dive bomb my sore knee because they don't know how to land anywhere other than my sore leg, because they get up and they run full speed around the
Frog
couch.
splashes onto the knee.
Bucky, he chop blocked me today, man. I
Oh,
was walking down the hall. Felt good all day. And I hear a little patter, click, 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 click. And he launches himself into the back of my knee. And I mean, it's all I can do now. But it's like strategic. Like,
yeah.
Like, how does he know where X marks the spot?
Maybe
Exactly.
you know what? Maybe it's a strategy on their part. They don't want you to go back to work,
Well,
so they're trying to keep you injured.
but they'll come over, and if the Apple
They
remote,
like having daddy home.
if you know that the Apple remote's not much bigger than this, and they'll walk across and never fails, bam on the play button. Never fails.
Yeah, mine do that too.
Or they'll stand on the remote for the recliner, so the chair will either go down or lay all the way down or come all the way up. But it's like they know.
Mhm.
And I'm saying this, and surely these animals don't know. But Fritz, little Fritz, the Iron Paw. I have the remote because I'm smart enough to take the remote and put it on the arm of my chair now. And he's sitting in my lap, and the remote's laying there. And I watch him, and he's looking at it, and I'm afraid he's going to pick it up with his mouth. And I see him pick his paw up, just one paw, and he pushes the pause button perfectly, like he knew what he was doing. And I looked at my wife. I said, "Can you believe this?" I said, "Nobody's ever going to believe this, that this dog just hit pause and looked at me. It was pause, look, like the little wiener dog knows what he's doing."
They're smarter than you think.
That's right.
Won't shit outside. But they know how to screw
It's
with
hot
us.
out there.
That's right. Yeah.
We're binge watching Reacher, and they're backing us out of Apple TV. So,
Henri Toots.
all right.
Mine watches TV. It's so funny. Owen will sit there and lay with me on the couch and just watch the TV. I'm talking for a whole hour. He'll look at the TV and watch it, especially if there's animals or he hears any animals on there.
I need to get them wiener dog tag team belts. And if I was going to get them wiener dog tag team belts,
There we go.
Definitely.
I'd go to Big Time Belts, facebook.com, Big Time Belts. High quality, low prices. The North American Heavyweight Champion went to Big Time Belts. Got this real nice red leather belt. I love the red paint on the globe. Big Time Belts made his belt dreams come true. The Louisiana Brass Knucks Champion. This is a replica of the old Texas Brass Knuckles Championship, reimagined as the Louisiana. It's an old style belt. Big Time Belts hooked him up. The Arkansas Wrestling Association Openweight Champion had this beautiful belt made for them. I can't remember the Alpha.
It's Sigma. No, it's Delta Sigma Theta.
Yeah, these sorority chicks got them a belt from Big Time Belts. The Russell Chu, the Hair Guru King, went to Big Time Belts. Summit Wrestling Association, wrestling promotions all over the country are going to big time belts to send their champions to the ring with quality championship belts. Don't send your champion to the ring with a toy that you printed out some stickers to stick on the plates. Have some class, have some pride, go to big time belts and have your champion representing your promotion the way that a champion should represent a promotion. Our good friend Tim Robbins got his AMW heavyweight championship made. After 15 years, he finally got the heavyweight championship belt that he wanted. Then he got the junior heavyweight belt. Soon he's going to have the tag team belts, and the women's belt will be following up. His belt dreams came true by going to Big Time Belts. Big Time Belts on Facebook.com. Join the group. Send a message. Let's get your belt started. You can have a quality championship belt like you see on television for under $300. And we'd like to thank Big Time Belts for sponsoring our show. Big Time Belts.
Yes, thank you very much, Big Time Belt.
I want to get a question in from one of our listeners, of course, Willie Buck. He wants to know what we think of LeBron James's son, Bronny James, playing for the Lakers. And Willie Buck, you just broke news to me because I'm a Knicks fan. I don't pay a lot of close attention to the NBA, especially in the offseason. So I wasn't even aware he got drafted by the Lakers. But I think it's kind of cool that he's going to the Lakers.
It's sports entertainment. They're going to sell tickets.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
yeah. The kid is not going to be, I don't think, an all-star in the NBA or anything like that. But I think it's good that he gets to play with his dad for a couple of years before his dad retires and help him, maybe get a little bit better.
I think it's 100% sports entertainment. There's people that the talking heads in the NBA say that this kid wouldn't have got drafted.
Right. If he wasn't who he was to the team that he's on.
LeBron probably sweetheart deal with the Lakers. I think he opted out of his final year. They're renegotiating. He's going to stay, of course. LeBron booked this. I'm sure LeBron booked this deal, wants to play basketball with his son. I mean, if I gave a shit about the NBA, this might register on my radar.
Yeah.
Would it make you mad? Okay, think about it this way. They lost a draft pick, basically, to do this. Would that make you mad? Like if the Stars did something,
it's not like they took him with
one of
their
my
last
teams did
pick,
some dumbass shit like this, I'd be all over it, upside down.
Yeah.
Because he was a first. I mean, he was like a first
He went in
round,
the second
right?
round.
No,
I think
second round.
he was 55th. So it's
Okay.
not like he was picked last. And, he kind of went. It's not 55th. Ain't bad.
I think everybody knew
Right.
if they picked him, LeBron wasn't coming to their team. So, I mean, it's going to sell tickets. It's going to make your superstar happy. And I guess if this happened on one of my teams, like, because love him or not, LeBron's a great player.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to keep a great player by giving him what he wants. So if I was a Laker fan, I probably wouldn't mind. Let's just say that, but Michael Jordan was such a great competitor. He knew his kid wasn't good enough to play basketball with him.
Right.
You wouldn't have seen Michael Jordan pulling this for his kid.
He wouldn't have played with him. He ain't good enough.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit better, son. But no, but I mean, it is sports entertainment. They're booking the town.
Mm-hmm.
And
right now they don't have wins to book the town on, so you got to book it some which way.
but I mean, they have a history of winning championships. It's not like they're falling short of their goals. I mean,
Right.
they've got skins on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could sit here and tell you that a more deserving player didn't get a spot on the Los Angeles Lakers because of him, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I care.
Right.
I don't.
This might be the first time we've talked NBA with Pondwater Dave.
I mean, well, I don't like the Lakers. I don't like the Lakers at all.
I don't either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if a big earthquake hit Los Angeles and the Staples Center fell into a big old hole in the ground, that's a good start. I don't care for the Lakers. I don't.
How dare you wish that on the Clippers?
I didn't wish that on anybody. I just said if. If
They play in that arena too.
let me be clear, I did not just wish a natural disaster on that part of California.
Yeah, you just wait.
So we're going to hear about the earthquake
Yeah.
tomorrow.
No, I'm just
now.
saying that if it don't, I don't think this move makes them better.
Gotcha.
So, but
It gets people talking.
if I'm being truthful, if the Dallas Mavericks aren't playing, I don't care.
That's the way
Gotcha.
I am. If the Knicks are on TV, I watch them. Other than that, I don't watch NBA
I just
hardly at all.
You know, and I mean, even with them playing, I probably watched one playoff game this year.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do want to, speaking of my lovable New York Knickerbockers, what did we think about the Jalen Brunson action on Raw Monday night at MSG? Did you guys watch Raw? And they
I
had
saw
the
that.
player from the
Yes.
Pacers and Jalen Brunson from the Knicks out there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like that. I like that. You know, you're getting heel heat bringing a guy from Indiana in, and
Yeah.
I don't have
Kind of
problems.
Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone, kind of shades of that.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. It was entertaining.
Exactly. Yeah, I did too. And they've been doing a lot more of that where you're seeing the different tie-ins in the crowd. The one gentleman had Logan Paul on his phone. I don't know that like during the segment he was the basketball player had Logan Paul on a FaceTime or something. So like I said, I think it's kind of cool. I like all those tie-ins like that.
Darian Staley has a wonderful idea. Sit and Pretend is a great podcast title. Sit and Pretend is coming to the Ram Network.
We almost named this show that there and back when we chose Pondwater Dave instead.
I mean, we're stuck at 627 subscribers. If this shit don't pop off pretty soon, there ain't no telling what we're going to rename it and start talking about.
I got congratulated on the amount of our YouTube subscribers today. So, you know, some people, what is another man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah, well, we've been sitting.
Exactly.
We were at 628, and now we're at 627. So everybody needs to
that's because we had Shuli on.
Start hitting the fucking subscribe button now.
It's because we had Shuli on. I bet it was Dick. He unsubscribed.
Well, before we go into trivia, I will tell you next week we're going to be talking some old wrestling with Dan Bynum. For those of y'all don't know who Dan Bynum is, he's been directing professional wrestling for over 40 years. He was the director of World Class Championship Wrestling. He was the actual director of the Bad Street USA video. He was involved in WCW. He's been involved in MLW. He's got some hot sports opinions about Hulk Hogan.
Oh, cool.
He is not shy about sharing. I can't wait we'll poke the bear on that.
Definitely.
But I can't wait to talk to him, especially about World Class, because he took over in he late 82, early 83, and that's when you can really start seeing the changes to that product when they started filming. I mean, we're going to talk to him about some of the vignettes that were filmed, places that I recognize that they might have been filmed, like Kabuki. Was he at Benihana's? Was he at the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens? I mean, the changes that were made in the Sportatorium. And the reason I'm noticing all that is because over on the Ram Network, we're doing World Class Flashback. Me and Timmy C are looking at 1983 World Class Championship Wrestling.
Oh, cool.
My favorite year of professional wrestling. So having Dan Bynum on next week, he also went into the Southwest Wrestling Hall of Fame the same year I did.
Oh,
So
cool.
We're classmates in the Southwest Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Classmates. I like that.
So that's I'm looking forward. We'll have Dan on next week to talk about that.
Awesome.
In 2 weeks, we're going to sit down with the Bojangles champion, Jay-Z Graham.
Oh Lord, there'll be some controversy.
If you've got social media and you're familiar with Bojangles Chicken, you've seen him, but he's a very positive person. The power of positivity is going to be alive and well on the Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave in 2 weeks when we're joined by the Bojangles champion, Jay-Z Graham.
That'd be
Bring
awesome.
all of your Bojangles complaints.
Yeah, he wants to hear them all
next week.
He wants to hear them all. Can you get chicken legs at your location, or are they all tenders now? He wants to hear it. He wants to hear it.
And I saw where Bojangles is breaking out some WWE
Oh yeah,
tag
cups.
team cups. Did you see
Yeah.
that?
I
I
saw the
mean,
Heart Foundation was one of them, so I'm a
yes,
Bojangles fan now.
Yeah, I
I
Bye,
texted
bet
him today and I
Popeyes.
so.
said, hey, buddy, grab me, make sure I get one of those New Day cups. And he goes, they
Yeah.
don't have a New Day cup. And I'm like, I saw New Day on a commercial. And they're arguably one of the greatest WWE tag teams ever.
Hey,
Yeah,
They've
let's
got
see. Who is it? It's the
it's
Heart
the Outsiders,
Foundation. The
Outsiders.
the
Outsiders. That's the one
Outsiders,
I
the Heart
couldn't think of.
Foundation, the Dudley Boys,
Oh, Dudley Boys, yeah.
and the Brothers of Destruction.
Brothers of Destruction. Yeah, I mean, I was a Popeyes guy, but I'm all in for Bojangles now that they got the Heart Foundation cup.
Isn't
I
that
thought-
funny though? Like I mean, I don't know when's the last time we've had something like that besides like outside of the venue, like going to see a show.
Yeah.
I remember, you remember being a kid and whatever was
Oh,
at
when I was a kid,
McDonald's or Hardee's
7-Eleven.
or whatever. Yeah,
When I was a kid,
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven had like in baseball season, they have what they call baseball activator cups.
Oh yeah.
And you get this
Okay.
clear plastic cup that had like 3 black stripes on it. And then you'd go
Uh-huh.
and you'd get your Major League Baseball Slurpee cup.
Uh-huh.
They were plastic reusable cups. But after you got it, you would take your baseball cup and set it in the activator cup. And on the back of it, there would be like 3 baseball lines, like images. And you take the cup and you turn it like this, and like it'd be a guy swinging the bat or throwing it.
Oh, yeah, I
that's
remember
pretty
those.
cool.
Yeah,
But then they did the NFL cups,
They
they
had
did
the wrestling
superhero
ones.
cups. But 7-Eleven used to do that with their Slurpees, with their 16-ounce Slurpee cups.
I think
I
they need
loved
to
it
bring all
when
that
I
back.
was in like middle school when wrestling got big in the Attitude Era. Like TV Guide had 4 different versions of wrestlers on the cover
yeah.
that week, and
Yep.
I got all of them. I was all like pumped. Like wrestling
I've
was
got
on
'em.
everything in 1998.
I know I have the Stone Cold one. I think I may have more than one. Because I bought-
Undertaker. I
Jay-Z
think
sent
was
me a
one.
bag. He sent
I
me a
thought it was
bag
The
of wrestling
Rock.
magazines, and I
He
think
was
those
one.
TV
There's
guys were in
4
there.
of them.
And
think
I thought
it
it was
was-
Sable,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
China,
Oh, sorry.
Austin,
Stone Cold and The Rock.
Rock. I thought Taker was one. I could be off.
Well,
Right,
and
yeah.
they did it more than once, right? I mean,
They
they were
did.
on the. Oh, did you hit your
Yep.
knee?
But
Yeah, I'm hurting. Let's do
I know
trivia.
WCW
Oh.
got on there too. I think Goldberg was on there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, let's do trivia. He just hit his knee.
Back when people actually read TV guides because that's what you needed to know what was going to be on TV.
Exactly. No kidding.
Dave's going to
And
cry
yes-
on us over there.
I know.
That one hurt. That
and-
one hurt worse than the Bucky frog splash
Oh
from
my
the
gosh,
top.
I know. You could tell. And yes, Willie Buck, we will all be watching Money in the Bank.
Yes.
And we'll probably do a pre and post show over at the Ram Network.
Absolutely.
100%. Definitely do a pre-show.
I will. I'm ready whenever you are for trivia.
Hit it.
Wait. Well, okay. I was going to give y'all a little. Okay.
Go ahead, tell
Oh.
us.
So let me. Okay. So I was waiting for my theme. So that's the reason why. But that's okay. That's okay.
I'm
So-
getting cued.
She cannot
sorry.
work without her theme song.
It's time for Amy's trivia. Think you have the facts? Let's play and see.
No, I was going to give you all some instructions a little
Dave's
bit. Oh,
Dave's knee canceled your show intro.
I know. He's like, hurry up.
We're
So
talking
this-
about 80s world class, and I'm going to go pop me an Oxy as soon as this thing's over.
Oh my God, bless your heart. I know that hurt. So
He's gonna end up like Gino Hernandez by the end of the night.
Oh,
nobody's gonna know
Too
what
soon?
happened to you.
Is it too soon?
It's too soon. Too soon. So this trivia is the Whack Pack trivia. Okay. So apparently on the February 24th,
Whack Pack
Night-
trivia
or
from the Howard
2015
Stern show.
episode.
From the Howard
Yeah.
Stern show.
yes, from the Howard Stern Show. So on the February 24th, 2015 episode of the Howard Stern Show, for whatever reason, Howard was contemplating what Whack Pack member he would who he would choose to trade lives with if he had to.
I don't know
So
this
then-
answer.
So then the conversation got to be, well, we need to figure out who exactly is part of the Whack Pack
Oh,
before we can decide who we would choose to be.
Right.
So these first questions are going to be, out of the following names, which one is not considered a member of the Whack Pack
Yeah.
according to the 2015 list compiled by Stern and staff?
Yep.
Okay. So we have Beetlejuice, Hank the Angry Drunken Dwarf,
Absolutely.
Captain Jenks, and Mark the Bagger. One of
Okay,
these
I
is
know this
not
answer. I'm
considered.
gonna talk through it and give the audience a chance. We
Okay.
know
I
it's
know
not
the answer to this one.
we know it's not Beetlejuice because of course he's the king of the Whack Pack and long live the king, Beetlejuice.
Mhm.
Hank the Angry Dwarf, Drunken Dwarf, may he rest in peace. We
It
know,
was so
of
funny.
course, he's a Whack Packer. If he's not in, then who should be in?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Mark the Bagger talks with a very high voice. He has a mental issue. I'm not sure what, but he is in as well. Captain Jenks, his main problem is that he hid being gay for 30 years. Other than that, he's not in the Whack Pack. Sorry, Captain Jenks, you're the answer.
Yeah, I think they did some episodes where Captain Jenks was actually arguing, he tried to argue. that
Yeah,
was into the
he
Whack
was
Pack.
mad that he wasn't in
Yes.
the Whack. And he was like one of the original prank callers for Howard. He did all the prank calls back in the 90s. He didn't work for Howard, but like he's the guy
He's
who
the one
called,
for the OJ.
yeah, he's the one who called and said, "I see OJ.
I see
and He
OJ."
looked scared.
Yeah.
You all are
Look at here.
That was Captain. Yeah, look
That was
at
Captain Jenks.
That was Captain Jenks.
You are all correct. It was Captain Jenks. And you're right. When that episode came out, he was very upset and he tried to convince him that
I
he
was listening to Stern at the time and I could hear I was watching it on television. And when they went to him and he went, "Look at here." And I told my mom, we were watching because I just got home from my high school reunion. And I told my mom.
I don't know why. When he said high school, I was like, what?
No, it was my 10-year.
Okay.
It's my 10-year
Now I
reunion.
got it. Yes, that is
10-year
true.
reunion. And I only remember because my dad died that weekend.
Oh.
See,
look how he said it.
All the OJ anniversary stuff brings all that up.
Jesus.
But when they go they're like, "Look at here, I see OJ," and I went, "That's a fake caller. He's going to say Baba Booey, watch."
And he did. And I loved it when Al Michaels come in and he goes, "Peter, that was a completely farcical call. He said something in code there that has references a shock jock radio host."
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
All right. Next one. We have another set of names. Denise Miller, the Kielbasa Queen. Wendy, the Slow Adult. Tan Mom. Or Debbie, the Cum Lady.
Denise Miller, the Kielbasa Queen. We know Wendy, the Slow Adult, of course. She's one of my favorites. She's a Mount Rushmore of the Whack Pack, in my opinion. Tan Mom, she's definitely Whack Pack.
I would have paid real money to see the look on my little
I'm
wife's
between.
face. She had to type Debbie the Cum Lady on this slide.
She had candles with it all around her and she was typing it. I'm down between Denise Miller here, the Kielbasa Queen, and Debbie the Cum Lady, and I can't remember because, I mean,
I don't think the Kielbasa Queen's Whack Packer. I think she's an attraction.
That's what I think. I think she's more of an attraction. Now, Debbie the Cum Lady, even though she doesn't seem to have any loss of her mental faculties, she does have one weird thing that makes her Whack Pack, and that's that she likes to eat cum, and people make her in the mail. And I think that is Whack Pack. So I'm going Denise Miller.
These episodes like this is why I don't add my pastor to my friends list on Facebook.
Please, Mom and Dad, do not watch this. I didn't know that about this poor woman.
Oh yeah, she's into it.
Every now and then my father-in-law says something about the show, and I'm just like,
guys,
God, I
she
hope
freezes it. They send it to her in the mail, and she'll put it in the freezer and get it out later.
Hey, out of everybody that you listed there, the Kielbasa Queen's my favorite.
It has to be her. God, please don't tell me.
It is Denise Miller. The
thank God.
That scene in the movie.
Queen.
Her last name would be Miller.
Terry said, "Well, I mean, the name did give a bit of a hint of what her deal was." So.
Yeah.
Next question. Again, we have another list of people.
That was a tough one, Amy. I almost didn't know that one. I had to work through that one.
You had to, yes, you have to do like your, which
I
one
had to
seems
talk it
most
out.
obvious. Yes. So we have Asian Pete, Monotone Matt, High Pitch Eric, and Eddie the Produce Guy.
Okay, this one is
I don't.
okay. I guarantee Asian Pete is in, and High Pitch Eric, of course, is a Mount Rushmore probably as well. Eddie the Produce Guy, I do not really remember. Monotone Matt. It's between those two. Darren, I don't know this one. I'm going to say Monotone Matt.
Monotone Matt seems like the one to pick out of them.
It is actually Eddie the Produce Guy.
Ah,
He is
I
not
got the
part
wrong
of the
coin
Whack
flip on
Pack.
that one.
All right, next
Well,
one. This is
my
the
dream
last
of
of
going
the
perfect is over.
the last of the list of the this. Okay, so we have Yucko the Clown,
Yep.
Jeff the Drunk,
Right.
Bigfoot,
Yep.
and Gary the Conqueror.
This one is easy.
Yeah, it's about because there's three of them that are Whack
I
Pack.
mean, they're whack pack.
Yucko's a comedian.
Gary the Conqueror, who used to have another name. He's been on for years. Bigfoot, who lives in Vermont. It is definitely a part of the Whack Pack. Jeff the Drunk, who's been on TV. He was actually handcuffed to a woman for 24 hours when she had to do it to win money. She had to be handcuffed. She had to go to the bar, the bathroom, everything with Jeff the Drunk.
How much
saw
did
that.
she? How much did
I
she get?
forget. It wasn't enough, however much
Oh
it
yeah, I was
was.
gonna say.
He was drunk, crying in the middle of the road, and she was handcuffed to him. It was
Oh my
it was all
God.
on Howard TV back in the day. So yes, the answer is Yucko the Clown, who probably should be, but is not in the Whack Pack.
I'm pretty sure that Yucko actually developed a really popular cartoon a few years ago called Brickleberry.
Yes, he did. It was it got on Netflix or something, didn't it?
It was on Comedy Central when it came out. It was
Oh,
very
okay,
good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, he did. He had it. He actually he is a funny guy.
Yeah.
But he's also he's eccentric. That's for sure.
So you all are correct. It was Yucko the Clown. He is not part of the Whack Pack. All right, here
Darren
is our
Staley
next.
says she got a couple grand out of that 24-hour handcuff stay.
Oh, and he puked everywhere. Oh my gosh.
She was crying.
Oh.
It was bad.
He
I
just looks
bet.
like he smells bad.
He does, and he has things growing off of him.
Ew.
What was it, Darren, that they said was growing on him? A carbuncle or something? I don't even know what that is. Who knows?
All right. So next question. Who is considered the den mother of the Whack Pack?
Oh,
Is it Angry Alice, Underdog Lady, Nicole Bass, or Marianne from Brooklyn?
I was thinking about Angry Alice today and how much a carbuncle. That's right, it was. I will have to put that in the Google machine and see what a carbuncle is. But I miss Angry Alice. She was a African American woman that would call in, and she was angry all the time, and she even hated her own race, which was interesting. Underdog Lady, who was the only person, interesting enough. Underdog Lady was on the show in like the 80s or 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very religious, and she didn't want to be associated with the show anymore. So she hadn't been on or anywhere near the show in like 20-something years. And the only person she would talk to was Shuli. She would talk to Shuli. Mr. Shuli. She would talk to him on the phone.
I don't know if they're still in contact, but he had talked to her a few times when he went right after he left the show.
Yeah, he had. Yeah. The answer here is Marianne from Brooklyn. We know it's not Nicole Bass. She was too busy beating ass on Raw.
That is correct. It is Marianne from Brooklyn. She was also upset when she was not put on the Whack Pack.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And
Yeah.
You know what? She probably should be. They actually did an embedded with her this week because it was her 25th anniversary
She's a
of the
super
show.
fan, though. She's not strange.
Well,
Yeah.
she is.
I guess that's why she gets to be the den mother.
Her neighbors think she's strange because they hear her screaming all the time and acting a fool whenever the show's going on. They did it embedded with her this week for her 25th anniversary since she was first on the show, which, interesting enough, trivia, Dave, do you know who was being interviewed when she called in for the first time? Here's my
25
trivia.
years
I have
ago.
no idea.
It would be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, wow.
And she
Yeah.
called in to say how much she loved him, and then of course went into loving Howard too. And Stone Cold kind of
Interesting.
heard her voice and how crazy it is, and she's like, "I love you, Stone Cold." And he's like, "Hey, thanks, lady." Like, I don't know about this one.
Stephanie did that to him. Stephanie did that to him the first time she met him.
Marion from Brooklyn. Yeah, she's
All right.
definitely a committed fan for sure.
Yeah, 25 years.
They said so. They interviewed her family this week too. The show is on, or Howard 100 is on 24/7 while she's awake in the house, unless it's dinner with the family, and she only turns it off then if they request it.
Well, nice.
Yeah.
All righty. Next question. From the list below, which one of these whack packers was permanently banned from the show in 2016? Is it Jeff the Drunk, Lenny Dykstra, Hansi, or Hansy, Ass Napkin Ed?
Okay,
I
so
think it was Lenny Dykstra, wasn't it?
it is not Lenny Dykstra. It's not Nails. It is Hansy, because Hansy was a little bit, not a little bit, a lot crazy. And I think he started like threatening people or himself and needed psychiatric help. So I don't think Howard would let him come on the show anymore.
The answer is Hansy.
Yeah.
The only thing I could really find, having not been a watcher, is that they're not exactly sure. He was kind of starting to say some things,
Yeah.
and Howard said he just got annoyed.
Is
so
Hansy Imran Khan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imran
Yeah.
Khan. That's what he tried to change.
I didn't remember that they banned him, but he
Yeah.
he used to call Busted Open, and he has recently called Busted Open.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I heard him one on the weekend that they took a call from him.
Imran Khan has got it going on. Imran Khan lives with his mom. I forget how it went.
He smokes weed all day and he does a bomb. Yeah.
All right. Last question. Okay, so I told you that the whole point of the conversation about who is on the Whack Pack list is because
Yeah.
they wanted to decide who they would trade places with.
Yeah.
So, who did Howard Stern say he would choose to be if he had to choose one of the Whack Packers?
I think I know this answer.
Was it Sour Shoes, Medicated Pete, Miss Howard Stern, or Beetlejuice?
You don't want to be Miss Howard Stern. I do believe this was Sour Shoes, and I think why he chose Sour. I think the reason why he chose Sour is because Sour lives with his parents and sits in a pool all day and don't do shit. Like he's got the easiest life. So
and he's immensely talented.
Yeah, and I think Howard is jealous of that life because he's always had to get up in the morning and work every day, and Sour Shoes don't do a damn thing. So I think that's probably where he would go there.
Dave, who'd you think?
Sour Shoes.
You are both correct. It was Sour Shoes. So I hope you all. I hope you enjoyed your little Whack Pack trivia.
Thank you, Amy. That was fun, and you know what? That was actually hard. I thought I was going to blow through these easily, and I did not. I did some of them, but there was some I really had to think about. So you did good on that.
Well,
we were talking about Steve Langford earlier with the serious voice, and that's what I was doing because Sour Shoes would call him like 200 times a day and prank call him.
Oh, yeah.
While he was at work. And that's when he's like, Sour. You're going to go to jail for this, Sour.
I want you to go to jail.
This is, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
I listened to the Howard Stern show for years. I don't enjoy it now. I try. Sometimes I'll be in the car and
I don't enjoy as much of it. I did listen to the last week or two here since they're getting ready. They just went on summer vacation, so I listened to the last couple weeks of shows.
Mm-hmm.
I still enjoy the hell like when Wendy calls in. Wendy called in this week, which that I'll laugh forever when she's on. When they do stuff with like Gary or the staff, I still love that. They just don't do it as much anymore.
Right.
There's more like interviews with, Alanis Morissette or somebody like that or whoever. And it's just not that those are bad. I enjoy the interviews.
Yeah.
He interviewed the president of the United States last month, and I thought it was actually a pretty good interview, and it was all live and good.
Well,
I
and as
like
many
I like his interviews. It's just I miss
some
of
of
the
the
old
best
stuff.
interviews. He could take a person that I really don't know anything or care anything about and interview them. I mean, the guys that has knocked some of the best interviews in history out.
Mhm.
Like I said, I don't listen to it like I used to, but I also have replaced Sirius XM with podcasts. I don't have
I
Sirius
did that
XM in my
kinda
personal
too.
vehicle. We keep it in
Yeah.
my
I
wife's
still have
vehicle
it.
when we
I have it on
travel.
the app, so I just plug it in through the phone on the app.
I mean, I try to listen to I've got podcasts during the week I'm trying to keep up on.
Mhm.
But I mean, I remember listening to Howard when I made a trip to my first trip to Los Angeles, and Bill Cosby and Sammy Davis Jr. were in studio, came by
Uh-huh.
because
Yeah.
Howard had used the term on the balls of their ass. And I remember that just, and then in Dallas, we got what they had called, I think they called it the Channel 7 show.
Channel 9.
The Channel 9 show. They showed it. It lasted 2 weeks in Dallas on Channel 21. It was a UHF channel. And I remember that he had Richard Simmons with
Yep.
Fat People,
Oh,
Young MC, and Amber Lynn, the porn star, on.
nice.
And I remember when Richard Simmons was on that they had trays of food come down from the ceiling. And Richard Simmons is talking about self-control, and the fat people were trying to reach and get stuff off the party trays that were on there. And at one point, somebody took out a rod and reel with a bag of Lay's on it.
Yep.
That's what I remember about the Channel
He
21
loved
show.
having him and Richard Simmons were just the perfect foils for each other.
But I mean, this was years and years and years ago, and I was really into immature humor more than I am now.
Yeah.
And it was just 30 minutes of crazy television.
Mhm.
And then he showed up doing his morning show on 97.1 The Eagle.
Mhm.
Yep.
So
That's
we had
where
we had the
started
morning
this.
show for a while, and then man, I remember when I listened to him all the way up till he left to go to Sirius.
I actually started watching the TV show before I could listen to the radio show because in Southern Ohio, I couldn't get the Howard Stern show. So
Mhm.
I saw him on TV, of course, and I loved it, especially in junior high, getting to watch, Lord of the Anal Rings at 11:30 at night. I thought was the best thing
I
ever.
bought Butt Bongo Fiesta on pay-per-view.
Now, I didn't start listening to the show every day until about 2001 or 2 when I could get one channel, 97.3 or something like that I could barely get at the Howard Stern show if I was in the right spot listening.
Exactly. Yeah, really.
But then as soon as it came out on Sirius, 2004 or 5, I have been there ever since. But I started listening about 2001, so I consider myself a 20+ year listener. But I've also went back and listened through the app of all
Yeah.
the stuff that I wasn't listening to.
Yeah. Well, we had a good time. I want to thank our guest Shuli for joining us tonight.
Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. For me, I wish I would have asked him what he thinks were the greatest wrestling related things that's ever happened on the Howard Stern show, because there's actually a lot if you think about it. Of course, with Iron Sheik, all of his appearances are famous on the Howard Stern show.
He was part of the Whack Pack.
Yeah, Iron Sheik was definitely Whack Pack. So yeah, there's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, they'd get Sheik in there and they'd get him all wound up.
I like when Richard and Sal would call in and be like, "Hey, Iron Sheik, this is the Ultimate Warrior. You're nothing but a piece of shit, you fat bitch." Then he would just start flipping his shit. They didn't even have to sound like him. He would still just be like, "Listen here, Ultimate Warrior." They had the
Macho Man. It was They get Cheeky Baby all wound up.
And him and Artie. Artie
All
would
right.
get him fired up all the time.
Be sure to join our friends over at the TNA Top 10 this week. Top 10 sports cars.
Did you pick the top? I haven't got through the top 10 list yet.
Oh yeah, I picked my top 10 sports cars, but I mean it was the Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit, and then everything else.
Gotcha. I said my Uncle Bart, he always had a picture of a Lamborghini. Like he instilled in us that the Lamborghini was the sports car. So that's what I voted for.
I think I went Corvette second
Mm-hmm.
because I've been in love with the Corvette since I was a small child. I actually went to a t-shirt shop. We had t-shirt shops back in the day, and I was a kid with a job, so I had t-shirt money. And I went and had a transfer of a Corvette put on a t-shirt, and I was probably 11, 12 years old maybe, and it said Corvette, wrap your ass in fiberglass.
Oh,
And my mother got so mad that somebody would sell me that shirt as a child.
no kidding. You know, there's a Corvette museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's not very far.
I bet
You need
she
to go next time in Nashville.
Did she ask you where you got it from?
She knew where I got it from.
Do you
I
think
mean, there
she
was
went
only
down-
one t-shirt store within walking distance of
Do you
our
think
house.
she went down there and ripped ass?
And I mean, we knew the owner.
Oh, so she definitely made a phone call then.
No, she went.
Oh,
He thought it was funny, I bet.
But I mean, I'd get paid, and I'd work the weekend and get paid. And I'd go buy t-shirts. We'd buy t-shirts. We'd pick a transfer off the wall, and we'd put our name on the back of them.
I love it.
So that's what we did.
That is
Yeah.
true, Terry. There was a big sinkhole.
I
But
saw
I
that.
think
I
they
saw
fixed that. Yeah.
So they're doing the top 10. They're doing sports cars.
Mhm.
Over on the Filter Free Popcast. Oh, look at there.
Looking
An audience with the Belt
good.
Pope. We're going to talk about the Ram Network. The Ram Network is a combination of Talking Wrestling with Palm Water Dave, the TNA Top 10, and the Filter Free Podcast. We get together over on Patreon, patreon.com/Ram Network. We're doing all this extra content. World-class flashback, an audience with the Belt Pope. There it is. Eras, the new generation. I love that new Filter Free Podcast logo. They're not
Uh-huh.
doing wrestling anymore, y'all, except on the Ram Network. Now they're just focusing on pop culture. I was there, hosted by Terry Weaver. Just Put It in Your Mouth
Mhm.
is restaurants and food reviews, because the M in wrestling in Ram is more wrestling and more.
That's right.
So Allison and Andrew do that. This just in. Wrestling
Justin
review.
Justin Yent will be working on that. TJ and I we need to do something. We have Power of the Pen.
Like I said, there's
It's a
World Class
book review.
Flashback with me and Timmy C. Watching 1983 World Class with you.
Imagine that. Dave's watching World Class.
Playing the
Night-
hits.
1983, because we all know that is your favorite year
of
of
wrestling.
wrestling. It's a good year.
Take us home, Justin. Unmute when you're going to take us home, Justin.
Hello. All right. Thank you. We want to thank the great Shuli Egar so much for coming on here. It was a blast. We love when we have the comedians on. It's always a good time when we have some funny
Definitely.
people on here with us. So thank you all in the chat for coming in here with us. And we will see you next week. Who we have next week? Dan Bynum. Dan Bynum next week. So for Pondwater Dave and the great Amy Vaughn, my name is Justin Davis saying so long. Like, what's her last name? I don't even know. My name is Justin Davis saying take care of yourself and each other. So long, everyone.
Hey, I'm going to strike
Oh.
that. Take the day off from being the bigger person. Go out and be the asshole that you were born to be. See you next week.